owners of Global Communications Network, and the operators of this radio.
FM. This is a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, even though we have our share of problems. We hear about tariffs and all kind of other things happening outside of our country. A lot of people are afraid, but the missing factor in our relationships is God. I have never heard a single word about God in all the discussion they have on radio and television, on Facebook. Where is God in our national life, in our family life, in our personal life, in our business life? Not a single word about God. And notice this, God gives every single one of them the breath of air that they breathe every day. And he doesn't charge them anything for it. But they get all hooked up about what this one say, what that one say, what the next one say. And they never, ever give any consideration to God. Bahamians, I think it is time we begin to look at what God says, you know. He has some very specific things to say about national affairs, about our family affairs, about our relationships with other nations. That is the missing ingredient. He controls the weather. He controls a whole lot of things that could either be used, one, to punish us, or two, to benefit us. It could be one or the other. And we're getting some weather that's very unusual. In our country, people are talking about climate change. It's a result of this, a result of that. But there are some other forces at work that these people are so oblivious to. And so we have problems. And they give wrong information. They give misinformation. And so as a result of that, Bahamians, we lose sight of where we ought to be going. Now, we've been having some things, excuse me, on the political scene. The political scene is in high gear. And, excuse me, there is to be an election set for next year. And some people are wondering, excuse me, whether there will be an early election or whether the election will be later on until next year. And you have varying different views from different people. And I have nothing against people expressing their views. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I know for a fact a lot of information that is going out there is so fraudulent, packed with lies, deceit, hypocrisy. That's what you're getting, Bahamians. From a variety of sources out there, spewing out information that is not accurate, that is not helpful to you. You hear some people talk about the God factor in what it is they're saying, and God has nothing to do with it. Maybe a different God they're serving, not the God of the Holy Bible. Because all you have to do is check what God says in Scripture, and you could line it right up. To see whether they're talking sense or not. When the by-election was in Grand Bahama, there were those who were talking about a God factor, a God movement against what was happening at that particular time. It didn't materialize, Bahamians. There were those in the general election who said God spoke to them, God told them this, God told them that. They all were pack of lies. And they all went down in a crushing defeat. Did they come back and tell you they were wrong, that what they said was not true? Not a living one of them came back to tell you anything. They just stayed right in the dark. And that's where they are today. Now they're popping up their ugly head again. They come up with another pack of lies. to deceive and mislead you, Bahamians. You got to watch these things now. How am I supposed to judge those who are there now? Well, that's clearly evident, Bahamian. Listen to what they say. Watch what they do. That's those on the opposition side, those on the governing side. And you make a fair assessment. Are they constitutionally sound? Yes or no? Are they speaking their own words, or are they speaking the words of their constituents? You know, we had an incident in the House just recently where a particular personality said that that particular individual had some prayers and fasting and all that kind of thing. And when you hear the remarks made by the individual, because we're going to play that, you know, because we want you to hear exactly what the individual said. And you take what the individuals say and you analyze it. See, many of you don't even listen. That's why you will always be deceived, because you don't listen carefully and you don't decipher carefully what the individual said. Now, let me just say this before we even play those tapes. Of course, I have my guest here, Brother Heil. I'm going to bring Brother Heil in just after I make these remarks. The point is, Bahamians, you have not yet understood. Even though I know I've been over it time after time again. And my niece told me to put it in simple, basic, fundamental language. Mincemeat pieces so you could digest it. There's a vast difference between party representation and parliamentary representation. There's a vast difference between the two. A person can be a member of a political party, but that same individual is also a member in the House of Assembly or a member in the Senate. Senators are members of Parliament. House of Assembly members are members of Parliament. And some of us don't understand these basic, fundamental, constitutional principles. So all of those in the upper house, all of those in the lower house, they're parliamentarians. It's just the difference that in the upper house, these individuals are appointed individuals. Those in the lower house are elected persons, meaning they represent a particular constituency. And there was a general election. And those individuals would have won that particular constituency to represent who? The people of that particular constituency. Now, here's the catch. Everything they say in that house, each individual, all 39 of them, are to speak what? What the constituents tell them to say. They were elected to represent the concerns, the affairs, the problems, the trials. In fact, if they want to be like Jesus, you take those burdens on your back and you bear the cross for your constituents. Do you see any of them do that? Do you see them go to that extent? If there are any, you tell me. What you see are party personalities sitting in parliamentary seats, not performing parliamentary functions. They always get up in the House of Assembly and say, I represent the good people of a particular constituency. They do not consult with their constituents. And I want you to listen carefully to what this particular personality had to say. And you determine whether that particular individual consulted with the constituents of that particular constituency, because the representation must be what? Representing the people of that particular constituency. That's priority number one. That's why you're sitting in that house. Anything outside of that has nothing to do with parliamentary representation. It doesn't stop a particular representative. If you want to give somebody some chicken, some fish, some rice, whatever. Those are personal things he may wish to do. Nothing necessarily wrong with that. That's not parliamentary representation, babe. Not according to this Constitution. We got a whole article, Parliament may pass laws. 3 specific things are mentioned in this article. Parliament may pass laws. May, by permission. Pass laws for the peace, order, good government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Do you understand those 3 points, ladies and gentlemen? For the peace, where is the peace in that particular constituency or any other constituency? Just had one killing again in Grand Bahama. I mean, these people just so wild. How they get like that? Where is the peace, Bahamians? Whether they're in Grand Bahama is New Providence. Whether they're in New Providence is another island. In some particular constituency. You do not know when it's going to break out because they never come and give you an advance notice. We're going to commit murder right here, 10 o'clock tonight. So just get out of the way. They don't give you no advance notice. It just happens, Bahamians. Where is that strong parliamentary representation to deal with these painful issues that affect the people of any particular constituency? That's why I asked the question. What major constituency problems have been solved in your constituency over the last 52 years? And these are the benefits that come to you, Bahamians, as a result of these major constituency problems having been solved. That's the job of the representative. And if that is not happening, Bahamians, you do not have any parliamentary representation. I don't care how much chicken, how much peas and rice, how many things he may do personally for individuals. That's not parliamentary representation, Bahamians. Not according to the Constitution. Where is the peace? Where is the order? Where is the good governance, good government in that particular constituency? That's what I read in the Constitution. If you see something else, you better come and tell me. So why do we have people sitting in the House, sitting in parliamentary seats, but they bring their party label with them? And you always hear this talk. Even the Prime Minister just made in one statement, one particular agency made some remarks about the economy of the Bahamas. It's still junk bond status. We're still in that. That's what they label us as. Are we satisfied with that? Some people seem to be content with being called junk. You want to be called junk? Is that what you want, Bahamians? You can't get higher than that. Mind, these other people rating you, These are other people putting these labels on you. And the Prime Minister made some remarks about that. I heard it on the news today. Junk bond status means absolutely nothing. Because you're just junk. You're weightless. You're a piece of trash. That's how they look at us, Bahamians. That's what the man telling you. But if we're going to be satisfied with junk, if our leaders are going to be satisfied with people calling us a bunch of crap, we got some serious problems. And that's another issue. And that is why I say to the Bahamian people, listen to what your leaders are saying, your national leaders. Because when the Prime Minister makes these kind of remarks, you got to pay attention to that. He's the Minister of Finance too. He got 2 big positions. Office of Prime Minister, Office of Minister of Finance. You notice in fact, going all the way back to Pinling time, the Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister are one and the same person. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson.
Hey, what you say, man?
Mr. Thompson, you never come to terms with the reason why they probably giving us the junk bond status rating.
Say that again. I heard the last few words you said,
You know,
John
like
Bond
I'm
status.
saying, it seems that you haven't like brought this up to terms why we have been rated this strong born status. This is what I'm saying.
No. Hold on, caller. I still didn't get the first part of what you said. I just heard the latter
No, I
part.
say basically you haven't come to terms why we always get this strong born status rating.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, now you know we borrow a lot of money. We always get borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and then you're really looking at it. Where is it shown in the infrastructure?
Okay.
Where is it shown in our industry? We ain't got no industry other than going fishing and tourism. You know, I mean, like, we ain't planting no food, or, I mean, growing no, like that, growing our own food or getting nothing like that together.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we facing this from 10% like increase from coming from America, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, we getting this John bond reading because of corruption, because money that have been allocated for certain projects. I'm talking about millions, billions of dollars.
Yes.
Because we right now we like over must be taking some $1 billion in arrears. Eh?
That's the national debt, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
And we still doing the same thing, borrowing and borrowing and borrowing for all the billions of dollars. When you're looking around the world, when these different countries spend $1 billion, look at the infrastructure
You
that
see the
put in place.
infrastructure.
Understand what
Yes.
I'm saying? You know,
But
and then
but caller, you should also see the quality of life of the people being
yes,
improved
exactly.
upon.
You cannot see it because of corruption. Because
Okay.
money is then funneled into the same hands and distributed among the same set of people, no matter which political party come in. You see that, right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so that's basically what it is. It ain't the Dane and people, you know. It's the Dane people who put people in place. You know, and Mr. Thompson, when we're talking about this, like people like voting for these different parties, you know what came to my mind this morning, like 4 o'clock. You know what our problem is, see? Some of these people come to us and tell us what this party do, what the other party do, and we ain't gonna do that, we ain't gonna. You know what our real problem is, see? We don't actually like people like get together and sign a contract with these people. I'm talking about these politicians. What you
Okay.
say you're gonna do, you sign your name off on that, and then you don't do what you do. You know, there's a legal consequence for it that will be standing in the court. And I think
Okay.
that's the best way to go about it, you know, because these men they only want to get in there to self-serve.
Yes.
Am I wrong? That's basically what it is.
No, but I think there should be some repercussions.
Yeah, man.
And the people in the constituency themselves ought to be the ones to determine what happens in their particular constituency.
Mr. Thompson, at the
That
end of the
part is
day,
missing.
right, the best thing for that happens that never happens is for these politicians when they come to the people on the table, they're gonna do this and do that, right?
Yes.
You know, you draw up a contract and let them sign it, man.
Okay.
And legal consequences for it when they don't fulfill the contract.
Well,
When they sign
constituents
to the
can do
people.
that.
And
Constituents can
that's
do
the only
that.
way.
Yeah.
That's the only way because you know what? They always come with a smile like the one who been in the show last week, right? Let's smile where you come from.
Yes.
And you know what? I tell you no lie, Mr. Thompson. Just the sound of his voice, it like brings flashbacks of
Okay.
all the pain that we went through in the pandemic and all
Yes.
the neglect that
Yes.
FNM government put upon the Danish people. You know what? They come like buzzards with crows after a corpse is fallen. You know, they come in just before it dropped, they done sprinkling it, and then when they take a last breath, they done in it, taking in it, and that's the politicians in this country, you know.
Yes, sir.
They come around every 5 years to same way. But I mean, like Lincoln did it different, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, the intent of all of these politicians, the main people should make them sign these contracts with different constituencies and put these men and women in before the courts. And I think they'll be doing a better job in this country. Mr. Thompson,
Yes,
last
sir.
week, right? I was waiting to hear your call. They had 2 hours of a show on the show on the other station, right? With these Israeli last something.
Oh.
Hey, listen here.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen here.
I heard them. Yeah.
Listen here. These men, them, I mean, one is American and the rest is probably they went to America for Asian, right?
Yes.
And you know, to be in this country, I was appalled. You know, I'm a Christian, right?
Yeah, I
And the
know.
Christians, they never stood up. I mean, they even need call on that. These people that literally destroy Christianity, destroy the human women, destroy the human men, destroy everything about our country and things.
Yeah.
And they speaking of a foreign tongue, you know,
Uh,
and that station would allow this invasion to happen, and these people to be coming on these shows and things and have this upper voice and just run on whatever negative they want to run. I was surprised that when they walk out that studio, you know, like they wasn't like apprehended, man.
yeah. Yeah, I
Because I mean,
understand.
like when you show such disloyalty and foreign like that, and come as a military force with Christian bannery on them, you know.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I wonder what kind of country, you know, until, boy, I don't know, this is serious what's going on.
No,
And
but
would we allow for these foreign people to come inside here and run they whatever they want to run? And man, Mr. Thompson, it ain't a good day and would it be allowed in this country. It
yes,
was a
sir.
behemoth and like coming on like that, thing like that. You see the consequences, man.
No, I am not going to disagree with you because I heard the comments made by these particular personalities. It was
You
not in
know,
good
and
taste.
it's,
I felt, caller, that it was very offensive
you know,
to the
very
Bahamian
offensive.
people. All right?
And Mr. Thompson, you know, 52 is a smart man on radio, right?
Yes.
And then you could see that radio station, you know what they just do? And they every day they do it, you know. They turn down the volume of the person who calling and you can't hear the person calling and saying half volume, right?
Yes.
And the host up the full volume, right? And you know what? They destroy people and make you sound retarded. I mean, 52 is a smart man, right?
No, it's very
And how
brilliant.
they did him on Friday, he didn't have no sense on nothing, man.
Yes.
And that station is allows some stuff to happen in this country. And you know what? Women, am I saying something? What is more selfish than persons who we allow this country, who we even allow to come in this country, right? And then they're on the radio and they're so selfish with their own tongue and they will assimilate with English or nothing in this country, English speaking country. Who does
Yes.
allow that? The government need to put their foot down in this country, man. The Chinese don't do it. No other nationalists do it who speak in a foreign tongue. Why did we allow it in this country with these Haitian and things? And you know, with the ads in the morning night up at this particular station, right? You hearing the same ad where they could put on 2 times back to back in Creole. They don't do it with no Bahamian ad. What does that mean early in the morning before you get up and think? They put this wicked language or foreign tongue in your head, but you don't understand. They don't want to understand Bahamian language. You know, where they supposed to be on the radio with that because guess what? All of them got their cell phone. They communicate anytime they want to in their language. We ain't supposed to be punished by that.
Okay,
The
caller.
government need to put their foot down. It ain't
Okay.
hating nobody. It's a matter of principle. Who they serving? What it's all about.
Okay, well, I appreciate your contribution and thank you very much for calling
Yeah,
and
man.
bringing that to our attention. It's a very serious matter. You mentioned too about the persons who say they're the true Israelites, and they went on with a lot of talk. I heard the show myself personally. I was very offended by the remarks that they made and even the way how they treated the callers who called in to the show. They took over the show themselves as if they were hosting the show. The host should not have allowed it to happen, but that's exactly what happened. And then you're going to have someone on the air insulting the callers in a derogatory way, and the host just sits there and does nothing about it, which was very bad. But the caller has valid points on both issues. Then, of course, you have this funny language that's going out there. We speak English in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, but yet you have these funny ads that are going out there. We don't know what they're saying because we're an English-speaking nation. The language should be English, and I think we got to entrench that in our Constitution. And see, a lot of funny things are happening because the authorities are not strictly regulating things for the benefit of Bahamians in this country. That is the situation. I'm going to introduce my special guest. Oh, we have a call. I'll bring my guest on just after this call. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Professor. How are you doing today?
Yes, sir. I'm doing well.
Let me know if you're getting the feedback.
No, I'm not getting a feedback at this point. no.
Okay. So I haven't called you for a minute. This is Latanya Strong of the Freeport.
Oh, yes. You did call us some time ago. Yeah.
So, Professor, do you have a guest? Because I just turned in and I only caught the last caller. I don't know if you have a guest today.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Okay, well, good afternoon to your guest also.
Yes, ma'am.
Good day.
Okay, now
Good day.
I call in concerning the last caller. The gentleman that spoke to, I think they call themselves the Black Jews or something like that.
The black
I'm sure I
Israel,
called it right.
the black Israelites. Well, they call themselves
Yeah, I am.
Israelites.
Pardon me?
They call themselves the true Israel.
Okay, the true Israel.
Yeah, that's what
Israelite.
Yeah, Israelites.
Okay.
Yeah.
Professor, my thing is, I hear the concern of the caller when it comes down to the response of the church.
Yes.
But my thing is, we have to bear in mind, the church is not set up to deal with the spiritual things in a physical combat. We understand that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, and they are mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. When we find people attacking the church or other religions attacking the church, we have to bear in mind that we the body of Christ, we have an obligation to God to lift up and be the light, to be the light. And so back and forth trying to confront negative statements that would be made concerning the church, that doesn't move the body of Christ. It shouldn't move us. Our job is to continue to let the light of God shine through. Okay? Everything we don't have to respond to when it comes down to the concept of either a religion or a person. Your job is to allow the light of God, the word of God, to take preeminence so that those who need to be redeemed by way of our lifestyle would see the light of God in us and be drawn to the light. So all of the negativity, because I've had the unfortunate situation with having a conversation with a few of them, the true Israelites or whatever they call themselves.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's obvious that they have allowed themselves to be moved out of place by way of dead religion from the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, I don't want anyone to feel as though it's our job to be there standing up by way of trying to prove a point to these people. Jesus Christ is winning. He is winning when we, the believers, allow him to live this life through us to draw other souls to the light.
Yes.
This isn't a physical fight. Okay, so I just wanted to say to that caller that we are not moved, neither are we not encouraged in God. We are encouraged in God because we know that this war is to redeem our loved ones, our family members, those that are lost and want the truth of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
That's our job, not to fight physically by way of getting back and throwing words back and trying to prove a point. Yes, I understand study is to show yourself approved unto God, not unto man. A workman rightly dividing the word of truth, not to argue, but to be able to redeem someone that is in a fallen state. That's our job. Those who have chosen to go contrary to the word, that's not our fight. Okay, so I just wanted to encourage somebody out there to say, it isn't for us to take for task. It's for us to live this life through the power of God, through faith. And we are able to conquer all the forces of the enemy because Christ has already conquered. Our job is to live it. That's it.
Okay, let me ask you about Isaiah 60 and verse 1. Caller, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Isaiah
Yes, I'm here.
60 60 and verse 1. What do you say to that?
Arise and shine, for thy light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon thee. My thing is, that is the gospel. That's my concept of it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your contribution.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. Brother Hilo, welcome to Express Yourself on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We know you're a feature on Tuesdays, and I know you have quite a bit on your mind today. I just was holding on till you come, but thank God you're still here.
Amen.
Welcome to Express Yourself on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM.
Good day, Professor. And as always, it's a pleasure to be in the company of the Bahamian family.
Yes.
And good day, Bahamas. Professor, I haven't even begun to talk or say nothing over these radio airwaves as yet. I have not even begun. Not even a raindrop in the bucket. Not even a grain of sand on the beaches. I have not even begun. You know, but you started out the show today in a very important way. In all that is happening in the world, where's the talk of God?
Yeah.
What came to my mind, I thought of even like on American money, in God we trust.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where my mind went. I mean, like, you know, you in the fight of your life to do anything or say anything related to God in America. And then you all were discussing what's happening right here in the Bahamas with those of another belief,
Yes.
holding up the Bible and really attacking others or the remain of the body. You know, and I heard what Latanya is saying too. Here it is. On that matter, my mind went to Ethiopia. Ethiopia right now, we could say, from the Bible time to now, we could refer to Ethiopia as a Christian nation in Africa. Latanya, if you're listening, if we don't do more, we know we have to pray in all things. You know, men are always to pray and not to faint. And we also know that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but are mighty to the pulling down of strongholds. If you don't do more than that, the Ethiopian first family, Christian family, was pushed out of Ethiopia. And they are in exile. And that is now considered a Muslim nation. And I say to you, if you don't do more than we're doing right now, these Bahamas will become a voodoo nation. That's what I'll tell you. Why do I say that? We number 400,000. You know, we've heard one particular consulate leader, foreigner in our nation, state that there are roughly, 30,000 documented, and they were anticipating 100,000 just of one nation here in the Bahamas. And we have no idea what that number is right now. Professor, we only had 100,000 persons in New Providence, Bahamians, 100,000 Bahamians in early census going way back.
Yes.
100 to 110,000.
Let me add, some Bahamians are not on the current census because I'm not on it either. Members of my family are not on it. I've seen where people from the census grouping up and down in the street.
Now, when you say the census grouping, you mean the Statistical Institute? You're not talking about immigration with these pop-up?
No, that's
that's
a
different
matter.
Okay,
I can talk about
so
that.
you're talking
too.
about the Statistical Institute. Okay, yes.
They're
taking the census.
Who took the census?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not on that census. My name is not there. My family members are not there. There are some others who are not on that census. So that census is fraudulent.
Professor?
Because it does not give an accurate
Mhm.
count of the people in this country.
Professor, I believe with all my heart that same institute of which you are not on the register, you know how hard they are working to get non-Bahamians on that register?
That's a different matter.
because they're working hard.
And that is what Bahamians need to wake up to. Now, with the pop-up thing that you just mentioned, that's a fraudulent thing because I know they started out in Christie Park. I was supposed to go there to speak to the person in charge, but I didn't get the opportunity to do that on Friday. I told myself I would have done it on Monday, which was Constitution Day yesterday. I believe I might have mentioned it if I'm not mistaken.
Professor, in this time of crisis, before they send NIB out there or NIH to go help people, look for people, Bahamians who they could help and who need assistance.
Yes.
Before they send out assistance, they can send out immigration to go see who else they need to put, or regular, or whatever it is they call. I don't know what they call it, Professor.
Pop-up.
A pop-up event.
Yeah.
So you could come and have your immigration needs met.
That's what they're saying, yes.
So
And they mentioned specifically naturalization.
naturalization. So we have pop-up from this government.
Yes,
Pop-up going out to naturalize people.
yes.
But we don't have no other agency of the government serving people in this manner, serving Bahamians.
See, when they mentioned naturalization, I knew that they were in error because nothing in the Constitution allows them to do that.
Professor, why they don't pop up and give people the rights to their land who can't get their papers?
But now that's a different matter.
Why they don't pop
altogether.
up and do that?
That would be helpful to the Bahamian people. That is why we need the court to deal with this matter quickly.
I got
We
a
gotta
court
have-
case number here to read for you, Professor.
Yeah, please do. Because the thing is that I've been asking people to call the Supreme Court.
Mhm.
We can ask Justice Ian Winder, Sir Ian Winder, to please look at this case, because all I can see now is more strangers, more foreigners, more aliens, more outsiders invading this place. The current administration is not involved in deporting large numbers of these strangers out of this country.
Professor, by you saying that, I have to remind you of something that before it leaves my mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Dominican Republic just put out another announcement over the weekend that they are again going into large-scale deportation.
Yes.
You know, they share the same island.
Yeah, they
Hispaniola
do. Yeah, that's
is
right.
one island.
Right.
The Dominican Republic, Haiti. So they just sent an announcement out. So they're engaging in massive deportation. So you know what that means.
Yes.
So
See, countries are-
Turks and Caicos is doing the same thing.
yeah, they're taking a hard stand against illegal aliens.
And this is not a
in their
lack of
land.
love. This is a matter of protecting your borders.
Protection for the interests of the members of that particular nation. That's why each country, each grouping has their own nation. They have a right to protect their
So
borders.
why is the Bahamas the only nation in the region
That
doing the opposite of what a sovereign government would or
ought to
should
be
do?
doing. Ought to be doing, yeah.
The only country. The Turks and Caicos Islands called for London. London sent troops from Great Britain
Right.
and even, I believe, an aircraft carrier. They sent ocean vessels to assist.
Well, we're going to have to get some assistance over here
Hmm.
because if the court is not moving, we're going to have to put pressure on the court to move. Because right now, this is a major national problem. We're gonna deal
As
with
we
that
as we
more.
go to break, here's the case number quick. As
Yeah.
we go to break, number 2024 / P as in Prince, U as in umbrella, B as in Bahamas / C as in Christ, O as in Orange, N as in Nassau / 00004.
Good. Okay. We're going to have to go to a break right now. I hear the music in my ears. Bahamians, this is very, very serious. We want you to call the Supreme Court to speak to Justice Ian Winder. He's the Chief Justice of the of the judiciary in this country. We're going to appeal to him to use his good office to get this case before the court so the court can make a judicial decision on it. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. My special guest today, Dwayne Hyler. He's here. We'll be back after the break.
but the phone somehow died.
Yes, ma'am.
But I want to tell the Bahamian people, if our court is not prepared to call the case that we have in front of them regarding the immigration
Yes.
matter, like I said, we don't need to wait for the court in the Bahamas.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody can go on Google and pull up the United States State Department.
Yes.
Now, they have a number for persons outside of the United States to call,
Okay.
and it's listed. So all we need to do is call that number, let the U.S. State Department know that our Bahamas government is giving us fraudulent documents to persons who the United States would not give visas to come into their country. They're going around and roundabout and getting it from the Bahamian government to come into the United States.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the United States does not give Haitians visas to come to the United States. That's a no-no. But the Bahamas government is giving the Haitian people our passport from our side and getting them over to the United States under the auspices that they are Bahamian.
Yes, ma'am.
So we just need to let the United States State Department know that our government is violating our Constitution by naturalizing all of these persons who the United States would not let into their country, but they're getting in anyway through our Bahamas government.
Yes, ma'am.
So he don't need to call our case. We have other avenues
Yes, ma'am.
that we can take.
Okay.
And I encourage folks to just Google it.
Yes,
Call
ma'am.
the United States State Department and state your case there. We don't have to wait for Mr. Winder because he don't seem as if he wants to call our case.
Okay.
And if you notice in the newspaper today, they have it listed the increase in the amount of passports that was issued so far for the first quarter of this year.
Okay.
And this pop-up thing is ridiculous. And we got to hold our government feet to the fire. Call the United States State Department.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Professor.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your contribution. I think we may have to take
Yeah.
that route.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Hyler, make note
Yes.
of that. We're going to
Yes,
look into
most
that
definitely.
right away because we cannot allow this foolishness to be going on. We call ourselves a judiciary, and we're going to test Mr. Winder. Mr. Winder will be tested.
Mm.
And if he's acting stupid and foolish, I will say it publicly on air.
Well,
Because the thing is that we are not going to sit back and allow them to trample on our constitutional rights, freedoms, and privileges. They keep saying we are a nation of laws. We have the judiciary. They're supposed to be hearing cases. They're supposed to give justice. Well, he will get the test of his life because I'm not playing any games with them. Either you do or you don't do. And if we have to take other action to get him to move, so let it be. That is the course of action we have to take. And we got to move on it quickly, Bahamians. You heard what the lady said. Google the State Department of the United States. And they have a number there, what you can call. And we want as many of you to follow her advice. Because Bahamians, we got to move on it quickly while we have time. Brother Hyler, go ahead.
you know, Professor, our statement is directly related to a report that came out. And we do have a call, so we'll have to get that as quickly as possible.
Yes.
I'll refer to it after this call up, but
Okay.
the State Department is the same department that issued a statement on Bahamian affairs, stating
Okay.
that the way we are handling our laws or not handling corruption in a more aggressive way, it is keeping investment away from the country.
Okay, well, we're going to deal with that
Mhm.
also.
Yeah.
Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Professor Thompson. Good
Yeah.
afternoon, Dr. Hyla, Kendall
Yes,
Hanna
yes.
from Freeport, Grand Bahama. Yeah.
Hey, good
Okay,
day,
Brother
Andrew.
Hannah. Okay.
So I got two comments.
Yes, sir.
Professor.
Yes, sir.
The first comment with the Christianity thing and the religion thing.
Yes.
Dr. Hyla and Professor, black people, white people, because we all one, recognize that we are God within. We are God within. Everything, this illusion will keep continuing. You understand?
What you
All
say?
the Brit-
Hold
yes?
on, slow down a little bit. You say we are God. What do you mean? Within? What do you mean by that?
We are God. We at one with one at one we one God. When you look in the mirror, you see one. You see reflection.
You see
is
the
one.
image of God.
Yes.
You see the image of God when you look in the mirror.
You see one. We all are one. Spiritual, we all are one. Professor Thompson, we don't die. We don't die. We multiply. We die
I
in
don't
the
know
flesh.
about that.
We don't
No,
die.
no,
we
no,
don't die in the
no.
spirit.
Caller.
Yes.
Anyhow, that's your view, and I'll allow you to express it, but
Yes, sir.
it is not biblically sound.
Like every
Well-
religion express itself, but it's no religion. It's no religion. We are God. The first Christ who came down was talking against the religion, so they couldn't have that.
Well,
They couldn't have that. That was too big.
Kendall, allow me to frame it as you continue. Allow me to frame it a different way.
Yes, sir.
Kendall,
Yes, sir.
when a dog has offspring,
Yes, sir.
They have puppies, right?
Yes, sir.
And when they grow up, those puppies become dogs.
Yes,
Okay, when a cat has offspring, they are kittens.
yes,
When the kitten grows up, they become cats.
yes,
Okay, well, when a god has children, they are called men. But when men grow up, they become Psalms 82, verse 6. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. That's Psalms 82, verse 6. He said we are gods. We got to know who we are and make sure that's a small g and not the big G. He's only one God. But
yes,
he is in those that walk according to his spirit
yes,
and are growing up into him.
yes. Dr. Hala, we are energy. We are energy.
Pure energy.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are energy, pure energy.
But he also say you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes if you walk on in darkness. Verse 5 say they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the
Now,
foundations of the earth are out of course. I know
yes.
you're on your phone, so let me make sure we hear you out.
Now, listen, Dr. Hala.
Uh-huh.
Don't forget, they take pieces of our real scribes.
No, I understand.
And they kill all the leaders. They kill all the leaders. So we don't
Yes.
have no learning and no teaching. And
Yes.
then they teach us their way. So what I'm saying to you is,
Yes.
we are God. We are God. We are spiritual. And we living in certain dimension. We living in this world because he got freeze and he got in the firmament because he thought he was God. So what we living in is matrix, unbelief
Okay.
world, his world. And all we doing is praying to him and gaining our energy.
Okay.
But if we stop gaining our energy and recognize that we are God, this world will stop the
Okay.
halt and will be for the good
We
and for the
understand.
better.
Thank you
Y'all
for
have
your
a good day.
contribution.
And
Good day.
the next-
Thank you for your contribution.
Good day, Kendall. Well, if we stop giving him our energy through prayer or reverencing him, oh boy.
We don't want to get into this.
Yeah, yeah.
He's going off onto something else.
Understood.
But we want to stick rigidly with
Professor,
the thing here. Yeah, go ahead.
is a lot going on locally, and
Yeah.
then but we, where the word says we go on in darkness.
Yeah.
The secrecy thing that our government is operating in,
Yeah.
Professor, is like the less they say or give us information. This is happening publicly.
Yes.
No information coming. A lot of mistreatment of unions and not giving them the dignity and serving them the way that they ought.
Okay.
But yet somehow the powers that be in this country still command a large majority of the loyalty of the Bahamian people, regardless of how they are treated or mistreated.
I have to comment on that one. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
please.
Hello, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, when you were talking about this pop-up thing over the weekend, right? Hello?
Yeah, go
Mhm.
ahead, caller.
Yeah, okay. It's paradoxical because listening to President yesterday on the airwaves, he was saying that persons who were stranded in the U.S. who wanted to come back to the Bahamas who don't have their passport, a passport is hard to get unless you're here in the Bahamas.
No, I heard him make that
And
remark.
you can't get them.
But
We
he's
kind
sure
of
giving out a lot. He's sure giving out a lot to people who propose to be naturalized.
As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, that's very pathetic, and people in that, right, is undemocratic, it's unbehamian, for the mere fact that, you can pop up here from anywhere and get a passport in the after, right?
Amazing.
They don't need to know anything about you.
Amazing.
But as a Bahamian, you're stranded in some foreign land.
Wow.
And as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, their first policy and job duty to rescue Bahamians anywhere around the world to bring them back home.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
all he's showing is that he's nothing but an infidel.
But
And honestly,
he also said in that statement, I heard him very clearly, that the laws have changed since 1973.
this nonsense. This man, I think I tell you no lie, right? I always wonder, right? How every single time when the PLP get in, right? No matter, it's like he jumped to this foreign affairs thing and thing. And it's like, one day something is so wrong because you know what? All it shows is corruption. Because I mean, this man, like I say, he never contributed nothing to life in this country. He have no children or anything, nothing for the future of this country.
Yeah,
He have nothing to look forward to. And the future of this country, the people who have kids, children, and
put
everything.
Put him on hold. Put him on hold. I don't want him to get personal because then that creates more problems for me. Don't call it, please. Do not get personal. Any personal matters relating to any particular personality, it causes me as the host to run into a lot of unnecessary problems. And caller, I don't need that at this particular time. You can disconnect the call because the thing is, we must stick rigidly with issues. If he says something that is contrary to the Constitution, that is one thing. But let us not get into the personal affairs of any one particular personality. This is where things get completely out of hand and you have accusations throwing back and forth. Okay? This pop-up thing is really a disturbing factor for me. But I heard him say how hard it is to get a Bahamian passport in relation to those people who are stranded in the United States and perhaps in other places. Because of, he said, the laws changed in 1973. Yes, a new constitution came into effect July the 10th, 1973, and it sure was in that Nationality Act, that piece of crap that his government is using today to naturalize, quote unquote, naturalize strangers, foreigners, aliens, outsiders. That's the real crux of the problem. Our Constitution has been violated for the last 52 years. And we have to fix that, Bahamians.
Amen to that. Professor, we have some breaking news just coming out.
Okay.
15 minutes ago. The government is saying that an administrative error was made regarding a publicized no-bid contract that awarded $183 million to Abaco Caribbean Holdings Limited, an affiliate of Striping Group of Companies, for the paving of roads in West Grand Bahama. This was brought forward by the Communications Director in the Office of the Prime Minister, Latrey Ramming.
When was this no-bid contract given out?
This was giving out between December 1st and January 31st.
Right now.
So that's December 1st, 2024 and January the 31st, 2025.
And today is April the 7th, right? Or the 8th.
This is April 8th.
Okay. And he just remembered to put that out now?
So now they're realizing...
What did he say? An error was made?
An administrative error was made in the awarding of that contract.
But I don't think the Bahamian people are going to accept that because, $183 million, plenty money. Okay? And you can't just gloss over that. Just like the Prime Minister talked about something that happened in Exuma in relation to some traps being put down. And he's saying he doesn't want to discuss that anymore. It just doesn't happen like that because you decide you don't want to discuss it. Now you're coming up with some other piece of crap about administrative error?
See, we said right on the show, Professor, we would be shocked to know what deals would be canceled if the public knew about it, because we don't know anything.
We don't know anything, yeah.
The opposition doesn't know anything about the books. And just so that the public understands, in terms of checks and balances, in the way our system is designed and the way our parliamentary system is designed also, the leader of the opposition, who in this case is Mr. Michael Pintard, he is supposed to have access to any public funds and deals that he seeks.
And he has authority to enforce it.
All he has to, by subpoena, he has subpoena power.
Subpoena power, yeah.
To subpoena the information or the persons in that particular ministry. All he has to do, he needs the permission of the Speaker of the House. Miss Patricia DeVoe is the only person Mr. Michael Pintard needs permission from. Now, in one case, they said, well, you need to put it in writing. Hear me carefully, because it's time to stop playing games with the Bahamian people's money
Yes.
and the Bahamian people's lives. The games have to stop because they really think this is a game.
Okay.
Miss Patricia DeVoe needs to be in either in person, verbally, or in writing. Just write it down on a piece of paper and say, I need to see that deal with $183 million. And she is obligated by law to make sure that he, Mr. Michael Pendat, and the Bahamian people get the information on that deal without allowing Mr. Ryan Pinder, the Attorney General, to intervene or to get involved with the judiciary and block the permanent secretaries from reporting. That's out of order and it's illegal. Now, anybody from the Attorney General's office could call in. Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson is right here. Dwayne Heil is right here at the desk. And the phone number here, Professor, 326-0271, 326-0272, or WhatsApp 813-0271. Be right here.
Thank you very much. I think we can have to go to break again. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We will be back after the break.
constraint of hard partisan politics. Mr. Speaker, I believe that the people of the Bahamas deserves a government that is united in its commitment to progress and prosperity. Therefore, from this day forward, I'll no longer remain where I'm tolerated, but where I believe I'm appreciated. I will not cross the floor and sit with the other side because it would be very disingenuous of me, having criticized the other side so openly and consistently. I have given credit where credit is due, but it would be very disingenuous and hypocritical of me to now join the very forces that I've been fighting.
Okay, that's the tape. Brother Hyla, what do you say?
Professor, a lot of things going through my mind. It should have been a consultation with the community, in my view. In my view, as discreet as you could do it, you didn't have to say, well, I'm leaving the party and joining the COI, but get the temperature, get direction from the elders. The elders would be, I believe, be more loyal. Speak to the elders, get some advice from the elders in the community in Central Grand Bahama. I'm thinking of stepping away from the party and see, I can understand why he may not present it to the constituency association. Seems to be very volatile.
Yes.
And while we do not know the details of what is going on behind the scenes, last week, Professor, I had mentioned that I could relate to the negotiation, the moving away from a major party.
Yes.
I could relate to speaking to a smaller party. I could relate to. What I did not say last week is that I do know of firsthand other parliamentarians that were in a position to do the same thing, whether it's moving to the COI, moving to a party like the BCP. So I do know that there were other situations, there were other negotiations that took place, but there's a way to do everything in decency and in order, because those same people are going to be the ones who you going back to ask for their support as you run again. So can they trust you? Can they trust that you're going to do what you say? And that remains for the community to decide, because apparently there are mixed views on the matter. Even in Central Grand Bahama, there are mixed views. Some people feel like, well, he did what he had to do. Let's see if he goes ahead and stands by the people. There are some that would feel you're not going to have the strength. Even with the COI, there's some that feel like you're not going to have the strength in Central Grand Bahama to remain in that seat to do something for the people. But the main thing is, if I was Mr. Lewis, I believe he already went right back to Central Grand Bahama right away. He went back to his community. But I would have sat with the people, be apologetic, explain the situation, and still make sure to reinforce that he is still serving Central Grand Bahama to the best of his ability. But I think he could handle it better than that, and it may cost him in the long run with persons who are prepared to stay along party lines. There are some people that are thinking in Grand Bahama, whoever's the standard bearer for the FNM, they are going to go with whoever that person is. So it's just up in the air. I generally, Professor, if things are not working for you individually, Mr. Aaron Lewis, if things are not working for you, if things were not working for Central Grand Bahama after many years, then why not go a different direction? But you need to be clear on what your plans are and what that direction is.
That's right.
Mr. Aaron Lewis, like I said, you need to go in sackcloth and ashes. You need to have the biggest rally of apology and strategy at the same time. That would be my advice to him. Bring your apology and bring your strategy. We need to know where we're going. If I can stick with you, where are you taking us? Because he Central Grand Bahama is a new Moses. So That is. So you better know how you're going to lead the people out of the wilderness
Yeah, that's
unto
right,
the
sure.
promised land.
Into the promised
So
land,
I
yeah.
do wish Mr. Aaron Lewis all the best. I wish the COI all the best. We are going to end up being competitors, I guess, but I won't dwell on that side of things. I wish everybody the best. I want the best for Central Grand Bahama, the best God has to offer. I desire with all my heart that Central Grand Bahama and all of Grand Bahama experience progress and better. We deserve better, and
Yes.
better is possible.
Yes, yes, we certainly do. Now,
Yeah, that
remember,
is possible.
he made in the statement that he was constrained by his own party. That's one thing. Now, he didn't specifically speak to his parliamentary representation. I don't
Mhm.
know if he's constrained by that either,
Mm.
because you got two separate things there. And I
Mhm.
don't know if he fully understands the difference between the two. Okay, was he being constrained with his parliamentary functions for that particular constituency? You see,
I feel like he could have been more clear.
yeah, but see,
Yeah.
this is where he's not crystal clear
Yeah.
in what
Yeah.
he's saying.
Yeah.
But he made a determination. I made a determination. Don't
Right.
forget that now.
Right.
It's the I.
Yeah.
Okay, not that the people of the constituency
Right.
advised me
Right.
to do so and so. We didn't get that from him.
Right. He gave some examples though, Professor.
Yeah.
He said when he protested, stood with the people, it just so happened that COI members were a part of the protest too. Now they did not wear their party colors. So it was supposed to be a community protest
Okay.
over in Grand Bahama. But Aaron Lewis stood with them.
Yeah.
And apparently he got backlash concerning that. So he was apparently told that that behavior is not welcomed. And
Okay.
for whatever reason, the point is that's a part of what made him feel constrained. You mean I can't even protest with my people on the ground, with my community on the ground? That's one example that he gave.
Oh, okay. All right. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Professor,
Hey, what you say?
good evening to your guests. I hear
good
everyone
day.
making noise about Dr. Minnis going to resign and he need to join up with Lincoln Bain. Do you ever see a payment? Do you ever see a payment for dollar bill?
No, I haven't.
That will
We never
never
had one
happen
friend.
then.
Pardon?
That will never happen.
Okay.
Okay? But what amazed me, I watched somebody come on yesterday and say something about these prime minister, when they lose the battle, they should resign. That was Brent Simonet. It amazed me to see that everybody now are coming out and saying who need to resign, because I told you from last week, Mr. Pentard is not making these decisions. I told you that.
Yeah, you did mention that. Yeah.
He have to get his decision from others, other voices. And if he don't do like they want him to do, he is like a flower's pot. They will move him when they put it there. They ship him there, and he only come out and deliver and say what he have to say. You see? But what amazed me, we are all Mr. Minnis senior man, to Jeff Lloyd,
Yes.
to Johnson, to Raymond Well, and all the these are the fellas them who was senior in his cabinet. Nobody is speaking out to say, you know something? If the man want to run, let him run. That's up to him. Everyone is sleeping. I being reminded when Jesus was in the garden and told his disciples, can you all just watch with me for 1 hour?
Yes.
When he needed them,
Mhm.
they all were sleeping.
That's right.
When Mr. Minnis need the fellas them who's around him, who he help up, especially the Johnson man, who say he will take a bullet for him. If a big truck coming, he will stand in the way and don't let nothing happen to Doc. Where these men, when he needed these somebody, he's out there alone. But I don't mind Dr. Minutes. Do not resign. Make a thorn in their flesh. Make a thorn in Dr. Sands' flesh. You hear me? Thank
Yes.
you, Professor.
Okay, thank you for your comment. And I don't know of any comments being made by Dr. Sands himself on this particular issue. But
They call it tight-lipped, Professor.
oh, there's tight-lipped. Oh,
You only
see.
saying so much.
If you'd like to make a call,
Yeah,
please
I
hang
think,
up and try again. If
the
you need help,
situation is
hang
such
up
where
and
they
then
need
dial your
to,
operator.
They need to be clear with the people. Sorry about that.
Okay,
for
we
the
just had to get
interruption.
that. Yes, had to get
Yeah,
that
to
call
get that
cleared.
call cleared, yeah.
Apologies,
Yeah.
Professor. Quite a few people commenting though.
Yeah, okay.
Former deputy leader of the FNM, Miss Loretta
That
Butler
was the
Turner,
Mhm.
my good cousin, one of my good cousins.
Okay.
She had commented and more or less in favor of, you could say in favor of Pintard in terms of Minutes should have seen this coming because
Okay.
because of the way things were going in the past.
Okay.
And then Branville McCartney, former leader of the DNA and former cabinet minister um, in the Ingram administration, he had some strong statements. I thought it was very strong. But he's saying the opposite, why not give Minutes a chance? And, McCartney is saying that he believes that the FNM is handing the election over to the PLP, in his view. Yeah, McCartney is saying to let Minutes go or not run on the FNM ticket, especially if the FNM Association
Okay.
in Kalani is saying that they don't want anyone else.
Okay.
Then now that stirs up more contention. That's the opposite.
But what I'm trying to
You know.
figure out, who determines in the the FNM party, who is the determining factor as to whether one would be a candidate or not?
Well, evidently, ultimately, it is the decision of the leader with recommendation by the association. And that apparently that's about to be tested.
But then you have the council, the meritorious council. That's the supreme body of the party.
Of the entire party,
Yeah.
which is higher
So
than
outside
the
of convention,
constituency. Yeah.
outside of convention,
Mhm.
the council has the supreme authority, and the council would make the determination as to who would be running in the next general election. The point is, the leader himself has said publicly that Minutes will not be on the ticket. He asked him to recommend someone who
Mhm.
can replace him. I believe we have a call on the line. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Dr. Harlow,
Yes, go
Hey,
ahead, caller.
hey, good day.
you was on point. I said on Michelle Markham show before she left the show, this is Ken Delano, that PLP going to win again. You was on point, Dr. Harlow. They all are one. They're making the PLP have the clear slate. You understand? You're on point. PLP going to win again. And I been said it when they had the low count. It's all good. Y'all have a good day.
Yeah,
Kendall, it's the people can win if they come to. When I say the people are going to decide whether or not they're going to go, continue swinging back and forth, or give the PLP another chance or whatnot, or give a smaller party, the third party.
I'm glad you mentioned that, but let's just look at this for a moment. Look at the last two elections, general elections. 35 seats versus 4 seats. 35 for the FNM, 4 for the PLP, under Dr. Minnis. And he left, I think, about 8-9 months before his term was to be up. He said he saw some hard headwinds. The election after that, you had the PLP party come back to power. 32 seats for the PLP, 7 for the FNM. Now, this back and forth multiplicity of seats given to one particular party, when you look at the history all the way back to 67 and coming forward to where we are today, it doesn't seem to benefit the Bahamian people. This is why I asked those two questions about constituency, problems being solved, and national problems being solved. It is clearly evident from all the available evidence that I have in front of me that giving a particular party a massive landslide of seats is not beneficial for this country.
Mm-hmm.
The PLP has 32 now. What major constituency problems have they solved in all of those 32 constituencies? And these are the clear-cut benefits that come to these people in those constituencies. What major national problems have been solved by the current administration?
Well,
And here are the clear-cut benefits that come
Mhm.
to the people of this nation as a result
result.
of these major national problems having been solved. Why do we elect representatives? Why do we elect a government? There has to be meaning to that. And it doesn't seem as if we're getting any parliamentary representation, no solutions to any issues being solved. We don't seem to be getting any national problems being solved. What we have had is a multiplicity of problems. Go ahead, Brother Hyler.
Well, these are some strong words that came from Brownfield McCartney as well. He said that the Bahamian people are stuck on stupid. Now, I thought that was very strong. I don't think I
Very
would have
strong.
said that myself.
Yeah.
But I think it's out of frustration that he said that after bringing the DNA forward. And even if it's not the DNA, his thing was, and he said he don't know what's going on in the FNM. That's what he says.
Yes.
You know, we do have a call to professor.
Okay.
But I don't know if the Bahamian people are stuck. They just need to see compelling action and to understand more.
No, they do. They certainly do. Well, let's hear what this caller has to say. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, the guests, and good afternoon, Bahamas.
Yes.
Professor, man, I hear what my man was saying, but guess what? That is true. When you lose, this ain't constitution, right? But this what we do. We think it's constitution. Anytime you lose election, you sit down, but you pick your voice, your people who if you run the thing right, you pick your people, your person to go behind and you hold him. That's how we go in the Constitution. Professor, I'm going to use this book again because a lot of people failing and don't understand it. Professor, I ask your permission to use this book. The Spirit, that Miles Monroe book, Spirit of a Leader. Let's say it one more time. The Spirit of a Leader. You're supposed to be in the background holding your possessor. And Professor, let me say this. But Brent Simmons, you need to do research. I remember when I was doing my research, my lady at the place where she retiring right now. But when I was doing my research, you should see the thing what I find. What the Honorable Brent Simmons say. Man, he put one. I find one newspaper. What he say? He had everybody silent. I say, that man is doing research, Professor, you need to see if you could find that. And you ain't got to worry about these court cases and take them. I just run across my mind when I see that. He put a piece out. When the piece out was another row, I take them and throw them up a loft, but I can't find it. But you should do research on all the things with the Honorable Brent Simmons say.
Okay. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Well,
but what we try to do on the show is anything that we refer to, we have to see whether the Constitution of this country supports it.
Oh yeah, I know. We play it. That's what they go near the Constitution.
That is the supreme law of the land.
Yeah. That's the supreme law. But
you see, and the question has to be asked: are we running this place according to the Constitution? Because see, I'm looking for a government that can solve problems. But I can't seem to find any administration that can solve national problems.
We got to do it ourselves. You're going to be here next 55 years. You're going to be here next 55 years.
Well, it would appear to be that way because
You better let's start doing it ourselves. Let's bring out the Constitution. And Fessa, I don't bring one out. Fessa, stop, Fessa. What you teach us? Stop waiting for people to do things. Let's
Yes.
do it ourselves.
That's
And
why.
I got Article 7:1. Now
Yeah.
let's start with that.
Okay, that's a
Like
good
on.
one. That's a good one
Ain't
to
nothing
start
happen.
with.
You want wait another 55 years? Girl, you stay there and wait there. Like on.
Okay. All right, caller. No, but the caller is correct. He quoted Article 7:1. I know what he's referring to it. But the point is, Baham, is we just can't keep going on like this. See, the last two elections should tell you something. The lowest voter turnout in recent history occurred in the last election. So you had a group that won the government of the country. And I got to speak to the fact that people do not turn up to participate in the parliamentary process. And yet, even though they have the 32 seats, you do not see any evidence. At least I don't see any evidence. I'm looking hard for it, but no one is able to tell me or to show me any hardcore evidence of any major national problems having been solved over almost 4 years. I just don't see it.
Professor, you realize we haven't caught ourselves since 2008. After the break, I'll comment more on that. From
Okay.
2008, for 17 years, we have been at junk status as a nation. That's our
I'm
credit
glad you
rating.
mentioned that because the
17 years.
the prime minister seemed to give some credence to these people who were saying we're junk. When you're junk, you're trash.
Yeah, we
That's
went up,
what you are.
but we did go up one notch. And I was reading where we need 4 more notches to go before we are no longer junk status.
I think we have to stop you there because I hear the music in the background. My producer is being very patient. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. We'll be back after the break.
Discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Bahamians are very much concerned about what is happening in our country today because we need to come out of this darkness, Bahamians. There's just too much confusion. And I'm going to ask you to please support me on this radio station. Of course, I'm going to give you my email address, the State of the Nation 242. That is 2, number 2, 4, number 4, then 2 again, at gmail.com. Send me an email and let me know you want to support the radio station, the radio show. Express yourself. Make sure you get that to me. Or you can call me after the show, 325-865-2325, 325-8652. Let me say that slower. 325-8652. Anytime, day or night. Because Bahamians have got to stay on the air. There's a lot of explaining to be done to the Bahamian people when it comes to the Constitution. There are articles in there I have to go in depth and make it plain and simple as it relates to governance in this country. And so it's going to take a whole lot to do that, Bahamians. We're going to need your financial support to get sponsors, to be able to do some specific things that relates to the Constitution, because Bahamians, we are in deep, deep trouble. And of course, Brother Hal, I want you to read that case number again for us, please.
Yes, that is case number 2024/P as in Prince, U as in umbrella, B as in Bahamas, /C as in chicken, O as in onion, N as in Nassau, /00004.
Okay. Read it one more time. Read it again.
Okay.
I want the public to get that case number. And Bahamians, when you hear it, please keep record of it because I'm going to ask you to do something very specific. Go ahead, Brother Hyla.
Okay, this is case number, and this is in the Supreme Court of the Bahamas. Case number 2020. Sorry, I begin again. 2020/PUB//C/ON//00004.
Okay, and Bahamians, you to call the Supreme Court. We want to get Sir Ian Winder, Chief Justice of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We're going to give him an opportunity to see what he's going to do with this matter because this is a very serious matter. It threatens the very survival of this nation. We're going to make it public what response we're going to get from him. We do not intend to sit on it and just allow it to go down. The country is falling apart, Bahamians, because we are being invaded by many strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders. This is not good for democracy in this country. We're supposed to be a nation of laws. We're supposed to have a just and fair judiciary. We're going to see just how just the judiciary is. You have to put it to the test, Bahamians. I'm not one talking no foolishness in my ears. This one is going to be a test case to see just how serious they are, because we are being held back by the government of the Bahamas in its violation of constitutional law. And we've stated our facts and what is out there. That is very important. Do we have a caller, Mr. Producer? Oh, okay.
No.
Now, I know about the tape. We're going to be coming to that right now. Okay? So, Bahamians, please, let's prevail upon the Chief Justice and let us ask him to use his good office, Chief Justice of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, to bring this case before the court because everybody is expecting it. Everybody's looking forward to it. It's a very serious matter. Mr. Producer, you can play that second tape now.
Change ain't coming. Change is here. Change ain't coming. Change is here. And this is history being made today. This is a member of parliament starting the revolution that this country needs. And there is more to come. I think that more members of parliament are going to be willing to step away from the old guard, and it's time for us to move into the new Bahamas. This is the first time that a member of parliament has walked across the floor to walk to a third party. It has never happened before, and so history has been made. And I am hoping that this will not be the last. We are a group of real Bahamians who are tired of the old way. We are tired of the failure. Why can't we want more? Why can't we have new hospitals built? Why can't we have ambulances? Why can't we have fire trucks? The governments have been failing us, and it's time for us to move on and do something new. We welcome Mr. Aaron Lewis, who has been standing with us. He's a very educated professional. He's an engineer by his profession. There are other of our candidates who are very professional, and we are ready to govern this country from day one.
Brother Highland, what do you think?
Yeah, well, what I think is hearing the protests in the background, it just reminded me, it goes back to just before the last election, when many of us, not necessarily only COI, but many organizations together were pacing and even walking around Parliament in protest. The level of protest has actually subsided, actually.
Yes.
But to speak specifically to the last clip, we live in a democratic country, and like I had said before, it is unfortunate the way things unfolded in terms of the residents, the constituents not being more involved in that process. I think that would have put Mr. Aaron Lewis in his strongest position to have the backing, or you could say the continued backing of those that put him there in the first place.
Yeah.
What is happening is many individuals, because it is a political party that gives them a nomination, it seems like their highest loyalty remains with a party and not necessarily to the people. So what may be happening here is Mr. Aaron Lewis may have traded his loyalty to the FNM in his view, that wasn't doing enough for the Bahamian people. He has a right to his personal opinion.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he moved over to the COI to give the COI an opportunity, at least, seeing that they are fighting for the people. So cannot blame them for that particular arrangement.
Yes.
It still need to be the people first.
No, it has to be the people.
Still need to be the people first, because you can move from one party to the next and continue business as usual.
That is true.
Okay. So the other thing is we need a general stronger voice, whether it's an Aaron Lewis, whether it's a COI, because I definitely don't want to rain on the COI's parade. I'll just leave it right there for now. And why I say I don't want to rain on their parade is a lot of things happening. You see what I'm saying? You need to campaign. Right. You need to campaign to go to Parliament, which is good. But there's a lot of things happening. Are you speaking to them?
That's correct.
Like SpaceX. Like,
oh yeah, that's a major issue.
Absolute silence. I find myself calling different, environmentalists and activists what's going on? What are you saying? Are you not speaking up in any way possible? Because things Professor, we have another call, but after the call, I'll comment further. Okay. We need to, every matter that arises. I spoke to a former union, you could say a major figure among the unions. Yeah. What do you think about how public matters are addressed? And they said labor has almost no voice right now. I'll leave it there for now.
Yeah, okay.
And it shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Oh boy, good day, gentlemen.
Good day.
Hey, good day.
That was a big statement, Mr. Hyla.
Boy,
Labor in this day has no voice.
boy.
You
know,
mean to tell me the labor unions do not have anything, no strength at all?
They compromise.
Or they
we know they
compromise?
compromise. Yeah, man. You
Okay.
see, but like we go back to the loyalty of this party politics over parliament representation
Parliament
and
representation. Well,
the
that is
duty of
happening.
our colleagues who we elect in the position of a job. So when we
Yes.
look at what is a PM, what is an MP, PM, they're jobs that we want to aspire to, and the
Yes.
people determine who will fill in that job
That
based
is
on, in the past and present, based on who we want as government or who we want to lead the nation.
Yes.
So right there's an obscured view in terms of how we pick leadership.
Okay.
Now listening to the message, at least now COI would have someone credible to challenge Mr. Bain for leadership of COI, because I think Mr. Hiram Lewis may have an agenda at the end of the day, because he is leadership material. He comes with experience. He comes with a seat. So he has more to offer any party in terms of leadership and being someone who could lead the party versus Mr. Bain. I don't see how Mr. Bain expect this to work, to have a sitting MP, operate as a puppet. I just listened to a show the other day. I didn't call it the radio host name, but he was discussing how Mr. Hiram is a puppet for Mr. Bain. He's a puppet in Parliament to say what you want him to say. And I was like, wow, these guys really play these games.
Yeah.
Where you go under as a party and they have their hand up you, and you have to speak what they say at the end of the day when they want you to. And I don't understand as a man how you could put so much control over another man. That's scary.
It is very scary. Yeah.
But my last point is, I got some calls from various tradesmen in society who are disgruntled over the handling of government contracts in relations to professions.
Right.
What I'm learning is, for one, paving the road. As we know, Bahamas Striping and her affiliates have been given that humongous contract.
Yeah.
But I've learned that even foreigners have been given contracts, smaller contracts in the country over Bahamians. I've had an incident where a gentleman called, say, for 5 years he's been trying to get a contract from Wakes, and they keep telling him they're waiting on something, or they're putting together things, and then when he showed me a video with road pavers after road pavers, foreigners doing work that he could do, and it's mind-boggling. And then I got a call from a colleague of mine in my industry telling me how contracts are given to persons who may be doing landscaping, and they doing a fencing contract. Don't know nothing about contract, don't know nothing about fencing, don't know nothing about bidding and quoting and putting together the measurements and putting together proper, true, accurate costs for materials and supply and labor.
Right.
But they're putting these outrageous bills. Like, for example, I heard of a contract there where a guy put in $160,000 for a contract which only valued or worth $40,000. I can say it again. A gentleman was awarded, who is not a fence man, awarded a contract for $160,000 for a contract that was only valued at $40,000. And so that's scary. The abuse of how, because that's my friend and we could get away with it, even though he don't do the work, they're giving these people these contracts and they're just screwing up our finances because and then what I want to know, Professor, is it constitutionally sound to go in Parliament during budget, forecast that I can spend $1, but and then end up spending $1,000? Is there any law in place that we could push for an investigation? For example, the government, they went in, forecasted $69 million for the year to be spent, but end up spending $400 million in 7 months.
Well, you touch.
This is where you have the Public Accounts Committee.
Yeah.
By the opposition. Of course, that would be a place to start. But then at the
same
time...
that's a smart answer to it, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, but then at the
because
they have certain powers that the ordinary citizen doesn't have. Because
that's a lot of money to give someone.
It is.
$400 million unaccounted for. Okay, so you forecast, because in your forecast, you're telling me what you can spend the $69 million for.
Right.
Then when you press play, you just throw that out the window and just spent 400 million in 7 months. That's almost less than that's little what 70 million in every month.
Boy, caller, we don't know if you got the breaking news, caller, but
No, I ain't get it.
about
Just until you know.
yeah, I noticed you, Anshul.
Yeah.
Mr. Anshul, about half hour ago, we read it right here on the air, coming out of the office of the Prime Minister. They're now saying that there was an administrative error on the road works for $180 million. So they put that down. They pulled that project now and
Okay.
saying that that was an error and
That's
that
the
was
second project they pulled.
and okay then after the moorings incident, and we
Yeah,
were told no more talks is what our Prime Minister said. No more talks about the mooring deal. Don't run on with that. No more
I like
talks.
how the people is now pressing. See, before we were so nonchalant, we was just allowing them to tell us what they can spend the money for. We never really questioned what they were doing.
But now that we are questioning it,
yes, man, I love it.
Mr. Anshul, this may be like, when a thread hanging off your garment, you got to be careful with that thread.
Yes.
You got to cut that thread. If you start pulling on that.
Now, Minister's the black horse in the race now, Minister about to change the dynamics of the country.
Well, he may start a new party. We don't know what he's going to do.
Man, if you say, listen to me, if Ministers go independent, just because they want him. See, it goes down to what constitutional sound is and what Mr. Thompson's been pushing in our minds. Constitution representation, constituency representation. If Ministers decides to take on the call based on what is said that, okay, we don't want you, PLPFM, we want you as an individual. And if that means then to be an individual representation, the only way that can happen is either you own a party which puts on more load and responsibilities on you, or you take on the simple way and just vote, run as an independent for a constituency that already wants you.
Well,
and that really changes now the dynamics on the power of independency.
Definitely.
When we talk about how ineffective or effective an independent member of parliament is.
But that is a good point you raised, because I draw an analogy. I don't know if you heard it. I gave the last two elections as a typical example. You give a party a massive landslide of seats. Yet at the same time, when you do that, you still seem not to get any real answers.
Right.
To constituency issues and also to national issues. Now, they have the power in their hand to do a whole lot of things. There's no blockage of any kind. The other side only got 7, and they got 32 as it stands now. So what is stopping them from doing that which is good and proper for the entire country and for all the constituencies? Nothing.
They have the money. They spend $400 million
They have the public purse at their disposal.
400 million we didn't even know was in the place. They say 69 that he could get. They end up taking 400 million out of it. They try to figure out where this extra money come from.
Yeah, that's very important. But we have some issues, and we gotta get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. Anyway, gents, I can let you go.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Yes, good day. Yeah. We have a comment coming over WhatsApp.
Yes.
It says, yes, Professor Thompson and Mr. Hyler, the trade union movement is very compromised, and they will destroy others for political gain. Well, that's sad.
And that is very sad. I'm disappointed to hear that.
They did it to me in early 2018 while I faced health challenges. Wow. And there is a name here. I didn't even say that, but it says only. It does say only Mrs. Belinda Wilson is very credible for all workers. Jehovah God Almighty bless her always.
But she's a part of an umbrella union.
She's a part of an umbrella union. Professor, let me say something to you. Professor, you realize that last year when Miss Belinda Wilson stepped forward in her strong representation, do you realize that certain major unions withdrew from Mr. O.B. Ferguson?
Yeah.
Certain unions sort of withdrew. They got a little small in their presence. With the, what is seen as the strongest union. Okay. Because there are multiple umbrella unions now. And to me, just to make sure of it, Professor, only results matter. If you do not advance the cause of your people, why are you there? Okay. If your people, for example, in the case of taking a strike vote, If you're gonna let the government tell you you better go back to work before I sue you all
Right.
or put you in jail. Oh
Yeah.
my God, why didn't call you professor?
Well, that's a good question.
I'm serious because they received a legitimate strike
They had it
certificate,
in their hand. So why they didn't put an injunction? Why didn't they take a different
a
turn
different course
rather
of
than
action.
just running back? Because see, the doctors right now, they still ain't settled yet. Those matters with the teachers are not settled yet. They're still, when I heard the minister of health, say they're sitting around the table doing what? What is so difficult to come up with an issue relating to whether you should sign in or sign out?
Professor, the last I heard, I don't know if there's any change. The police saying they haven't received their money from COVID.
That's another problem again.
That's only about a week ago that was brought up. I don't know if there's any change. So we're about to go into election. So a different administration is going to come in, and you still didn't get your money,
That's what
while
happened.
we are getting reports of the highest amount of money being taken in by this government
Yes.
in our history.
Mhm.
Money is pouring in hand over fist. And what is being done with it is all being covered up. So why we in such a rush to choose who is going to keep us in darkness next? Why does that appear to be the way we are voting? Who will be the next to keep us in darkness, keep the wool over our eyes, bamboozle us? Is that how we are electing now? Professor, before we went to break, and we're about to wind up the show overall for the day, we didn't even discuss the Trump tariffs, the
No, we
trade
did not
wars.
get to that. No.
And
no.
let me just make a brief statement, because Trump is doubling down. Trump say he is charging Chinese ships $1 million every time they reach a port. They got to pay $1 million. And if they retaliate, he just said this over the weekend, he's going to put another 50% tax on top of that.
So that means every port they stop to in the United States,
He
they
want to
have
charge them $1 million.
$1
$1 million.
Wow.
Louisiana is a major port.
Okay.
Orange Beach is a major port.
So every time the ship stops at one
Every
of those
time the
ports,
ship,
that's $1 million.
that's $1 million fee,
Wow.
is what Donald Trump wants to charge.
That's hefty.
And he says if China retaliates, he's going to add 50% onto that.
That's $1.5 million.
Well, not 50% of the million now. 50% tax on all the goods. That's different.
50%
Different.
on all the goods. This really a trade war. It's a big trade war.
This is heating up.
Jeez.
The Panama Canal and
Now,
about,
he did say he wants to take that by force.
well,
I don't know whether Panama is going to accept that.
well, indirectly through BlackRock. The minute a U.S. investment firm rose up and said that they want to buy out the Panama Canal and many others, Trump, he endorsed that deal. Once it's in American hands, that's what he want to see. So BlackRock has like 30 over. They have like 30 trillion, not billion, trillion dollars. BlackRock is like one of the top investment houses in America. And that's who's looking to buy out the Panama Canal and many other ports.
That's
We do have a call.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But if the people of Panama are prepared to sell it,
If they prepare to sell it. And one other matter, the Chinese own it. The same C.K. Hutchison, the same family that owns the container port in Freeport, owns the container port in Panama.
okay. I think we have a call on
Yes.
the line. Caller, you're live on
you
air.
need
Go
help.
ahead, please.
Oh, I think we lost the call.
Okay.
Call back. You could get one more call in. If the call is still listening, please try to call in again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
calling in
so
right
it
now.
would seem as if,
Yes. Yes.
we are heating up for something very big
Yes.
that's ahead of us.
The caller called back, Professor.
And we have to know exactly where we stand
Yeah.
as citizens of this country. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
I'm able to speak.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yes.
caller.
Yes,
Yeah,
you can go ahead now.
Well, I heard that you guys were discussing the Hebrew Israelites. I'm a part of that organization for the past 15 years or more. And I thought I'd come and give some comments relative to that, if it's okay.
Okay, you can go ahead,
Go ahead,
Professor.
then,
Mhm.
since you're on it.
Well, firstly, I'll start from the vantage point of Christianity, which is not telling our people exactly who we are and the fact that we were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And one of the places that we landed in is the Bahamas, and indeed the wider Caribbean. And through prophecy, we were scattered because we broke God's commandments, and we went into deep idolatry.
Right.
So Christ and the prophet said that Israel is going to come to an end. It's going to come to an end, and you're going to be scattered, and you'll be brought low on this earth. You'll be known as black people. You were never known as that. You'll be called Jamaicans, Haitians, Brazilians, Afro-Americans, Cubans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, that kind of thing. So when we really delve into our history, from the scriptural perspective, we find that we're the actual Israelites who were in the wilderness with Moses, who walked with Christ, who were the prophets and all that kind of thing. Even Paul brought us out. So we want to bring our people back to let them know that you are the children of God. You are the children chosen by God. You're the people of for salvation that are destined for salvation.
Right.
Now you have to repent. But the bitter irony is this. The Christian church has told us we don't have to keep God's laws anymore. And Christ out of his own mouth says that we have to keep them for salvation. And so this is a ball of confusion. And so we Israelites, we have to rise up in these last days to clear this confusion and tell our people, as Christ did, to come out of the Christian church, which we see is, for want of a better word, satanic, and deceitful. And it's not telling our people anything. And so when we come back to Christ in the keeping of the commandments, we'll be now ready and worthy for the salvation that is to come.
Okay. Well, Carl, what I suggested, if you could leave your name and number, perhaps we could have a further discussion on it at another time. If you could leave your name and number with the producer.
We just hit the 4 o'clock mark.
Because we have to close out now.
Yes.
Okay. This has been Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Bahamians, have a pleasant afternoon. Be safe. We'll meet here again tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Have a pleasant afternoon. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on